In a world riddled with cruel and merciless monsters, Lin awakens from a slumber amidst a pile of garbage, the rain cascading down upon him. As he gazes upon the bleak and chaotic landscape, he is consumed by a maelstrom of emotions, reflecting on his own weakness and the circumstances that led to his demise. Anger surges through his veins, igniting a burning desire for revenge. Yet, in the midst of his tumultuous thoughts, a voice pierces through the darkness, catching his attention. Startled, Lin turns around, his eyes widening as he beholds a figure standing before him. At first glance, the man appears ordinary, but as he turns, revealing his true colors, Lin is struck by a sense of dread. The man's once human facade morphs into something grotesque and monstrous, a chilling reminder of the horrors that inhabit this world. Confusion swirls within Lin's mind, unable to comprehend the reality before him. Suddenly, the mysterious man lunges towards Lin with menacing speed, his mouth contorting into a nightmarish visage. Trapped and defenseless, Lin resigns himself to his grim fate, prepared for the impending demise that awaits him. Yet, in a twist of fate, a scarlet scissor hurtles through the air, slicing through the monstrous form of the attacker. With a thunderous impact, the figure is vanquished, dispersing into the abyss. A woman clad in vibrant red emerges from the shadows, her presence a stark contrast to the horrors that have unfolded. Before Lin can gather his thoughts or express his gratitude, the woman, her beauty now bewitching and enchanting, poses a question: "Am I pretty?" Caught off guard by her sudden transformation, Lin finds himself entranced by her allure. Succumbing to the spell woven by her captivating charm, he utters a resounding yes. In an instant, the woman's features contort once more, assuming a visage so terrifying that it sends shivers down Lin's spine. With an endearing familiarity, she addresses him as little brother, persisting in her quest for validation, enticing him with her seductive ways. Although Lin is drawn to her seduction, he remains mindful of the danger that lurks beneath her facade. His mind races, contemplating the best course of action to ensure his survival. Amidst the chaos, a realization dawns upon him. This is a game he has played countless times before, where appearances deceive and survival is paramount. As if responding to his revelation, the system governing his existence undergoes a swift update. A new quest materializes, presenting Lin with a choice: to kiss the girl who stands before him. Determined to unravel the mysteries that enshroud her, Lin leans forward and presses his lips against hers. In an unexpected twist, the woman dissolves into a pool of liquid, her demeanor now shy and coy. Yearning to inquire further, Lin learns that her name is Hongyi, and she promises a future encounter, leaving him with a sense of anticipation and curiosity. Empowered by the recent events that have transpired, Lin raises his finger towards the heavens, summoning an otherworldly force. From the ethereal realm, a mysterious figure descends, its might palpable to all who bear witness. The resounding impact of their clash reverberates through the air, and as dust settles, Lin is left in awe of the transformation that has occurred within him. He realizes that he has obtained an SSS level ability, an unparalleled power that transcends his previous limitations. Although his base stats may be lacking, the potential for invincibility lies within his grasp. With newfound determination coursing through his veins, Lin sets his sights on the horizon, ready to face the treacherous trials that await him in this tumultuous world of monsters and mayhem. Lin envisions himself relaxing in an armchair on the beach, surrounded by beautiful girls in swimsuits serving him cocktails and snacks. The mere thought of such fame fills him with excitement and anticipation. However, his daydream is interrupted by a red alert from the system, indicating the presence of a powerful demon nearby. Without even looking back at the demonic entity, which resembles a black cloud with red eyes, Lin hastily retreats from the area. Despite possessing newfound abilities, he acknowledges his own weakness and decides it's best to avoid unnecessary trouble. Escaping unscathed can also be seen as a form of victory, and it may even earn the respect of his adversaries. After a long and tiring journey, Lin finally arrives home, exhausted. As he stands on the porch, he gazes at the magnificent and imposing mansion before him. This is his first time visiting such an extravagant residence, and it makes him slightly nervous. He tries to calm himself and reminds himself that his loved ones are most likely inside. As he opens the door, he is greeted by a little girl with pink hair and two long tails, who appears to have just woken up. She rubs her eyes and asks her brother why he took so long to come home. The guy, almost forgetting that he also has a younger sister named Lin Zai, known affectionately as Zai. Zai notices that her older brother seems to be injured, but he reassures her that there's no cause for concern. He explains that he simply slipped on a wet road. Zai prepares a ginger tea concoction for her brother and applies a bandage to his face. Placing the cup of tea on the table, Zai reflects on the memories of her new body. She is a child who was adopted by the Lin family after the passing of her biological parents, living with her older sister, Hua, and younger sister, Zai, both of whom possess incredible intelligence and talent. Zai often feels like the odd one out. She has endured a lifetime of sarcastic ridicule from others. 3 years ago, Lin Hua, thanks to her exceptional abilities, was selected for the Superpowers Department, resulting in her infrequent presence at home due to her busy schedule. The responsibility of caring for his younger sister fell on the shoulders of Lin, the middle brother. He was completely hopeless, struggling to even take care of himself, let alone a child. After drinking the ginger tea concoction, Lin immediately spits it out when someone bursts into the living room, screaming and demanding his head be cut off. Wiping away the drops, Lin gazes at the intruder who had dared to break into his house in such a barbaric manner and scare him. It turns out to be Chu Junyao, a childhood friend of Lin's. Pointing an accusatory finger at him, Junyao demands to know how he had the audacity to return home this morning after confessing his love to her in front of the entire class through a loudspeaker. She insists on an immediate explanation. Lin believes that his confession to Junyao and the murder behind the school are somehow connected, but he knows he must first deal with Junyao before delving into the rest. Lin lifts his chin and sticks his little finger in her nose, a playful act from her childhood days. However, his friend takes it all too seriously, becoming genuinely enraged. Clenching her fists and kicking at Lin, she tries to express her anger. Unfortunately for her, Lin expertly dodges the attack, but not without noticing her friend's exposed underwear. It's a moment of embarrassment, carefully getting to her feet as the guest blushes and becomes even more furious. Just as Junyao is about to launch a second attack, Lin's younger sister steps in between them, commanding her to stop making a fuss and stay away from her older brother. The guest crosses her arms over her chest, snorting in defiance, claiming that she won't stoop down to the level of a child. But the little girl simply dismisses her words, unbothered by her departure. As Junyao leaves, she reminds Lin about tomorrow's aptitude tests. Only students with a C grade and above are eligible to enter the prestigious Kanglin Academy. Pride gleaming in her eyes, she declares that she has long awakened her own abilities, securing her place in the academy among individuals like her. For her, all doors are open. Taking the opportunity to humiliate her old friend, Junyao vividly describes how Lin will remain at the bottom, entering a third-rate university and living a life like an ordinary person. Lin is once again faced with a system task, presented with different actions to choose from. Option 1 is to keep silent, which comes with a reward of 2,000 dexterity points. Option 2 is to apologize to Chu Junyao and admit that she was right, which offers a reward of 10,000 strength points. Option 3 is to disagree with Junyao and swear to awaken his ability at all costs, granting a reward of 5 strength points. Although the reward in the second choice seems tempting, Lin's pride won't allow him to agree to such a thing. He loudly declares that he will not only awaken his ability but also gain admission to the esteemed Kanglin Academy. Junyao is incredibly angry at his audacious statement, finding his self-praise pathetic. However, Lin receives his well-deserved reward from the system, feeling a sense of accomplishment. Junyao, on the other hand, is not particularly impressed. She believes that throwing words around like a master is easy, but acquiring true strength is more important and challenging. She promises that Lin will regret what he said. Amidst the exchange, she is the only one who takes his words seriously, encouraging him and genuinely believing in his potential for success. Later, as a gentle breeze wafts through the room, carrying the fragrance of maple leaves, Lin peacefully sleeps on his bed by the window. In the tranquility of the night, Hongyi, symbolized by the arrival of the maple leaves, approaches him. She lies down next to Lin, gently stroking his chin, and reminds him that he will have to take responsibility for stealing her first kiss. In the morning, Lin hurriedly leaves home, clutching breakfast in his teeth. Zai wishes him good luck, and he assures her that he will pass the aptitude tests. He proudly proclaims himself as the coolest brother who won't let their older sister down. As chaos engulfs the streets, Lin devours his food while recalling a strange dream where he slept with the demon Hongyi. Everything felt so realistic, as if it were happening in reality. Upon arriving at Kanglin High School, the designated site for the ability exam, Lin sees fellow students gathering and the atmosphere buzzing with excitement. Junyao sits in a spacious auditorium, flanked by 2 guards, and calls out the names of students who have arrived ahead of the rest. Lin approaches a tall, blonde man and taps him on the shoulder, only to have his hand swiftly pulled away with a shout. The blonde man is surprised to recognize Lin and realizes that, for some reason, Lin is still alive when he should have been dead. Lin recognizes the blonde man as Yongyi, and Yongyi, who appears to dislike Lin, triggers his memory of their rivalry for Chu's affection. Lin suspects that Yang might have been behind the previous incidents involving those guys coming after him. Determined not to let it go unpunished, Lin mentally notes that Yongyi won't escape his retribution. A stern-looking man with square glasses, who Lin assumes is the examiner, announces that the exam is commencing today and emphasizes its importance in shaping their future. Only students with a grade C ability or higher will be eligible to enter Kanglin Academy. He urges everyone to take the exam seriously. The examiner calls out the first examinee, Wang Xiaoming, who emerges trembling. Xiaoming, aware of the pressure not to disgrace himself, places his hand on a blue glowing sphere. To everyone's disappointment, an F-class item, a frying pan, appears on the screen behind him, indicating his failure. Xiaoming's jaw drops in disbelief as he exits the stage, followed by 2 more students who leave in tears due to their complete failure. The audience bursts into laughter at their expense. Next in line is Yongyi, with a support group seated behind him, enthusiastically shouting declarations of love to him. Yongyi confidently touches the sphere, and to everyone's surprise, a hellhound appears on the screen, indicating a class beast. This revelation shocks Junyao, who didn't expect Yongyi to possess such strength and awaken a class ability. Female fans seated in front of Junyao start praising Yongyi for his achievement. Next, Lin Xiao is called to the stage, and Junyao is taken aback that he actually showed up for the exam, wearing a triumphant expression. The room is filled with laughter as everyone knows Lin to be a worthless individual without any abilities or talents. Yang Zai looks down on Lin with disdain. As Lin takes the stage, bidding farewell to the last shreds of his dignity, he attracts the attention of the audience in a different way. Instead of being ridiculed, Lin receives appreciative bows from the crowd, which visibly displeases the examiner. Lin boldly asks everyone to let go of their prejudices and arrogance because his moment of glory is about to come. He confidently places his hand on the sphere, leaving the entire audience stunned with their mouths hanging open. Now they understand who Lin truly is. As the flawed F-class burns on the screen, Lin proudly declares himself as daddy with an SSS class ability, striking a confident pose. The examiner checks his sheet and states that the ability is completely unprecedented and its application is unknown. Lin turns to the screen in shock, and the room erupts into noise. The jokes about him quickly fade away. Yongyi remarks that Lin did not disappoint him. In a moment of complete despair, Lin feels a woman's hands gently touching his cheeks, and a voice assures him that he needs help. Before he can turn around, the demon, surrounded by swirling maple leaves, swiftly grabs him from behind. She has come to lend him a helping hand, augmenting the potential of his ability. The examiner announces, sweating, that this is an entirely new record, a potential for an S-class ability. With diligence and training, those with such potential can reach even higher ranks. Almost everyone, except Junyao, who looks extremely pleased, finds it hard to believe. The examiner declares that although Lin's ability is of the FFF class, his potential is of the S class, 1 in a million. Thus, it can be assumed that Lin has passed the exam. Lin victoriously raises his hands high and promises to become the strongest in the future. Later, at the waiting area for the second stage of the exams, Yang passes by Lin, not forgetting to call him a scum who, even with such high potential, will never change. He mentions that Lin has no chance in the second stage, accompanied by a sly smile. Lin remarks how envy emanates from Yang, so jealous of his strength. Yang jumps up and grabs Lin by the collar, asking how a trash like him can be envied. Lin responds by punching Yang in the face, fulfilling his request. The system rewards him with a +3 increase in strength. Their dispute is interrupted by a combative-looking girl, who reminds them that the second stage is about to begin. She urges the students to follow her if they want to participate. The serpent symbol on her attire indicates that she is from Kanglin Academy. Students are riding buses on a mountain road in the outskirts of Kanglin. The combat girl is introduced as Su Tang, a senior student of Kanglin Academy and their current examiner. The second stage of the exam is crucial, as those who pass will be able to enter the academy as official students. Lin seems more interested in Su Tang's legs than paying attention to her words, which quickly becomes apparent. Su Tang notices his gaze, and Lin realizes that things are not going well for him. As the bus enters a tunnel, creatures fly out, crashing into the transport's glass. The bus driver loses control, causing the buses to stop, and one even flips over. Panic ensues as the flying creatures, resembling bats, continue circling above them. Lin steps out of the overturned bus and angrily questions what caused the accident. He looks at the swarm of creatures and can't comprehend where they all came from. Su-tang menacingly inquires about the situation, surprised that they haven't reached the exam venue yet. The girl takes charge and orders everyone to stick together, stating that they need to deal with the creatures. Other students armed with weapons join her, and a battle cry fills the air. Lin is taken aback by the sudden turn of events and realizes they are thrust into a battle. Something is definitely wrong. The person standing next to him threatens that this time, Lin will meet his end. A monster flies towards Lin, but Young swiftly catches it with one hand. He throws it towards Lin with force, prompting Lin to kick the monster away, asking Young to keep it for himself. Su-tang fights in the air with several monsters simultaneously, skillfully parrying their attacks and responding with lightning-fast strikes. The fight ends with Su-tang's victory, and the students below admire their examiner. However, the moment one attack ends, another begins. The ground beneath their feet shakes, making it difficult to stand. Suddenly, thick chains appear out of nowhere, wrapping around the arms and ankles of Lin and several other students, lifting them into the air. One student cries out for help in terror, while others silently struggle against the chains, resisting with all their might. A masked biker holding a short chain appears, leaving his bike behind. He approaches the bound girl and gets too close to her face, speaking in another language. A nearby guy shouts at the biker not to dare touch his girlfriend, drawing the stranger's attention. The stranger approaches the student and mentions that since he can't touch her, he will take advantage of the boy instead. It becomes clear that the stranger was pretending not to understand their language all along. Su-tang intervenes and rushes into battle, protecting the student. Lin, still suspended, asks to be untied, but the examiner doesn't hear him. She charges at the biker, wishing for his demise, but her attack is easily repelled, and she is thrown back. Su-tang falls right into Lin's arms. Lin, being the hero who always appears at critical moments, will undoubtedly be the hero of the day. Lin chooses the third option in the system task, opposing the defeat of the monster and saving everyone. He is rewarded with a shard of ability improvement. Another guy nearby questions Lin's nonsensical actions, while Lin clenches his hand into a fist, which starts glowing blue. Lin is here to defeat the boss of the gym, a B-class demon. People wonder how a weak person like Lin will defeat him, but nothing will stop Lin on his path to fame and universal recognition. He jumps at the opponent with full speed, aiming his fist forward. The biker curses in English and effortlessly swings his chain, targeting Lin's face. The hanging students, though distressed, cannot hide their shock and disappointment. They question what kind of fool Lin is. Lin is sent flying beautifully due to the strong blow from the biker, and Hunji, affectionately calling him a fool, appears above him. She gently holds Lin's hand and explains that he needs to concentrate and gather all the spiritual energy in his right hand. Lin rejoices, realizing the secret to strength. A couple floats in the air, seemingly alone. Lin becomes worried as the girl's face gets too close to his, thinking she might kiss him. Wanting to take the initiative, Lin pulls Hong's lips towards his, but she freezes, either due to his audacity or the inappropriate timing in the middle of the fight, harshly reminding him of their situation. Hong transforms into a terrifying demonic form, growling at him and sending him into battle. Lin is pulled out of his daydream by a voice and realizes he had been lost in thought all this time. The students ask him to help them first before he dies, since he seemed so eager to do so. The biker, not pleased with Lin's sudden movement, prepares to attack someone. Hugh realizes it's time to be serious, as Hong taught him. He gathers spiritual energy in his right hand, ignoring the jests of his acquaintances pretending to be a hero while still being considered garbage. The biker swings his chain towards Lin and Yang, but Yang, who has regained consciousness, warns him of the impending danger. It seems that Lin's end has finally come. However, he does something that astonishes everyone. He catches the iron links of the chain with his bare hands, asking the opponent how much porridge he ate. The biker freezes in shock, as no one has ever been able to stop him so easily. Lin challenges the biker to come straight into his hands and forcefully pulls the chain, bringing the opponent closer to him. His right fist burns with a blue glow, indicating that it's time to end this. With a swift release, Lin strikes the biker directly in the chest, dealing a powerful blow. Sutton can't take her eyes off him, amazed at how he became so strong in such a short time. Yang is furious, believing that such trash should never have gained such power. Unexpectedly, the biker, instead of being defeated, remains unharmed. He realizes that Lin managed to beat the blood out of him, acknowledging his prowess. Determined to try a different approach, the biker hops on his motorcycle, revs the engine, and heads towards Lin. Panicking, Lin runs backward, bringing immeasurable joy to the bandit, relishing in the taste of victory. The biker's wheels leave a wide skid mark on the asphalt, showcasing his mastery of the road and his drifting skills. The biker aims his chain to grab or strike Lin, but it snaps under Su Tang's swift and powerful blows. To her, it's a mere trifle. She requests that the biker be left to her. As the bandit's attention shifts to Su Tang, he fails to notice Lin climbing onto the seat behind him. Lin holds onto the man's bare torso, preventing himself from falling off the moped. Lin mockingly speaks to him in English, causing the biker's face to contort with discontent. Su Tang seizes the moment when the driver isn't looking at her and strikes the bike's wheels. The bandit and the motorcycle go flying in different directions. Moreover, the bandit suddenly runs out of energy. Instead of dealing with this group of inept students, he finds himself facing his own demise, taking them to the grave. A glowing ball forms on the man's chest, growing brighter by the second, resembling a ready-to-explode bomb. Su Tang urges Lin to run, and the bomb explodes, creating a massive fiery cloud. The other students, along with the examiner and Lin, are unharmed. Suddenly, two silhouettes emerge from the smoke, Lin walking proudly, and Su Tang holding onto him. Su Tang appears disheveled, with bruises on her skin and torn clothes. Some students are glad that Lin saved them all, while others are dissatisfied with his self-proclaimed heroism. Lin suggests to Su Tang that she might need a massage since she was hit in the chest, but she firmly asks him to stay away. After a few minutes, when the examiner is no longer present, the girls gather around Lin, admiring his strength openly. Not far away, Young burns with envy, unable to bear their admiration. Lin receives a system message, informing him of a reward, 1 shard of ability improvement, further boosting his mood. However, he reminds himself to remain modest, as humility is a virtue. Meanwhile, the students notice an object flying in the sky, a drone with a camera. It informs them that the second stage has been completed and that the attack was planned from the beginning. The drone explains that the second stage focused on practical skills, while the camera recorded the students' performances. Those who showed valor during the stage officially become students of the Kanglan Academy. Surprisingly, Su Tang, who initially burst into anger, becomes the first to express her frustration, as no one warned her about the attack. It turns out she is an examiner, and the academy planned this to create a realistic environment. Everything would have been explained to her later. The student with the highest score turns out to be Lin, which prompts him to nonchalantly mention that nothing special happened. The same students who previously called him worthless garbage now lift him into the air, praising him and acknowledging his coolness. Su Tang observes the scene from the outside and analyzes Lin's future, recognizing his potential to shake the entire academy if he joins. In the evening, Lin returns home victorious and is greeted with joy by his sister, who asks if he passed. Proudly, Lin confirms that he is the coolest brother and has both the ability and acceptance into the Kanglan Academy. However, the joy is overshadowed by the thought that Lin's mission to the academy means he will leave home for his studies. Unaware of his sister's sadness, Lin dances up the stairs and promises to call Hua to share the news. As Lin stands by the open window in his room, he shares his accomplishments with Hua. She mentions that their late father would be proud of his adopted son and hopes that Lin will continue to strive for more. Suddenly, Lin feels dizzy and opens one eye, only to find Honi sitting on his bed. He asks her to behave less provocatively, and she playfully smiles, offering to teach him how to use his abilities. In return, she asks him to promise something unexpected: marriage. They seem to float in the air, and Hong's short dress transforms into a long one that stretches across the sky. Hong explains her plan. Lin will sign a spiritual contract with her, and they will officially get married. However, Lin is not willing to agree to such conditions. Awkwardly, he expresses that he can't just marry someone without taking the time to go on dates and develop their relationship before sealing it with marriage. The demoness cannot tolerate his refusal, and tentacles violently emerge from her chest to perform a bloody contract. The tentacles immediately connect with Lin's chest, causing him excruciating pain. In an instant, the tentacles retract inside him, and their union is sealed. Hong snuggles up to Lin, finding pleasure in their connection. When he regains his senses, Lin's head is throbbing, and he experiences glimpses of someone else's thoughts or memories from a world where demons and gods descended and killed people. The heroes were repeatedly defeated, century after century, until Hong's rebirth. In the morning, Lin's sister knocks on his door to call him for breakfast. She apologizes for waking him, knowing he was tired the previous day. Lin, with his eyes open, realizes that Hong is no longer there. He wonders about their wedding night and what happened in her world. He plans to ask Hong about it if the opportunity arises. With a bored expression, he remembers that he will be leaving for the academy soon, so he should start packing and say his goodbyes. Later in the afternoon, when all the preparations are complete, and the bus awaits to take Lin to the Kanglin Academy, his younger sister clings to his hand, not wanting to let go. Awkwardly, he rubs the back of his head and assures her that he will return during vacations. Hugh understands his growing attachment to his sister, but unfortunately, he cannot take her with him to the academy, even though he would love to. As Lin boards the bus, he waves a red rag from the window, asking his sister to take care of herself. Zai, not taking her eyes off the bus, realizes that she can't wait until Lin returns and decides that she must go after him herself. Upon arrival at the Kanglin Academy, Lin is impressed by the magnificent surroundings, particularly the abundance of beautiful girls. However, he decides to report his arrival later as he heads towards the teacher's room. Meanwhile, there is a heated debate in the applicants' hall about who will get the exceptional first-year student. A woman puts an end to their dispute by claiming Lin for herself, leaning against the wall and lighting a cigarette. Her colleagues remain dissatisfied, questioning her smug attitude and making comments about her large breasts. As the commotion continues, Lin arrives. He asks how he can be of assistance, and several male teachers rush towards him, each offering to become his mentor. One tempts him with high-class medicine, another with beautiful students, and a third promises various rewards. They grab Lin, each trying to claim him for themselves, causing a chaotic struggle. Lin observes the brawl between the teachers and interprets it as a tradition of the academy. He becomes intrigued by a red-haired woman with a cigarette who stands out from the others. Unlike her colleagues, she calmly offers to become his mentor and addresses him by the name Jiang Tin. While Lin clings to her chest, she advises him not to listen to the other teachers who are trying to lure the freshmen to their side. Jiang notices Lin's interest in her and decides to take advantage of it. With a seductive gaze, she promises him the best dormitory and a special position in the future. All he needs to do is acknowledge her as his teacher. King is unable to resist and asks Jiang to become his mentor. She kisses him on the forehead and requests his commitment to rigorous training, warning him not to disappoint her. Lin notices the pleasant scent emanating from Jiang. However, her beauty and charm quickly fade as she adopts a strict demeanor, warning him of severe consequences if he dares to bring disgrace upon her in front of other teachers. Unbeknownst to them, Young silently observes their interaction. Afterward, Jiang proceeds to the dormitories, marveling at everything in the surroundings. Lin gazes out of a window and is approached by a guy named Zhang Kaiyan, a disciple of Jiang and the senior responsible for conducting a consultation for new arrivals like Lin. Zhang Kaiyan, preferring to be called simply as Fat Man, cheerfully engages in conversation with Lin. He asks Lin about his impression of teacher Jiang, describing her as fierce. Lin candidly replies that she is a weapon of mass destruction. Fat Man leans in, as if sharing a terrible secret, and reveals that he too became a disciple after being seduced by her. He mentions that she promised him a future position, but warns Lin not to fall for it. Fat Man's face darkens as he recalls being deceived in the past. He advises Lin to stay away from the topic and reveals that Jiang's promised special position is nothing but a bluff. Lin, seemingly unconvinced, maintains a malicious expression, assuring Fat Man that everything is fine. Fat Man, losing his previous kindness, warns Lin to do as he knows. Meanwhile, Young-yi stands in his grandfather's luxurious office and reports that Lin has become Jiang's disciple. His grandfather, engrossed in reading papers, dismisses the matter and assures Young-yi that he will handle the arrogant newcomer. He places a dossier on Lin in front of Young-yi, promising to exert control over him. Relaxed, Lin lies in a hot tub, pleasantly surprised that the hostel includes its own spa. A woman's hand falls on Lin's shoulder, and as he looks up, he sees Hong leaning over him in a cloud of steam. Surprised, he asks where she came from in this place. Hong moves to the edge of the tub and explains that she is in his spiritual world. She clarifies that the spiritual world is a space created from the hidden spiritual energy within Lin. She remarks on his enormous reserve of hidden energy, although she laments that his overall strength is still too weak to fully utilize that inner energy. Nervously, Lin asks if she signed a marriage contract with him and entered his spiritual world solely because of his inner energy. Hong approaches him, coming within arm's reach, and takes his chin, confirming his assumptions. She reveals that her own spiritual world has already been destroyed, and accumulating a significant amount of spiritual energy in spirit form is impossible for her. Therefore, after each battle appearance, she must replenish her spiritual forces. Lin, overjoyed, grasps her shoulders and eagerly mentions the wedding night, promising to give her as much spiritual energy as she desires. Hong laughs and playfully calls him a fool. Their moment is interrupted by a knock on the door, causing Lin to swear in frustration, questioning why someone had to come at that exact moment. Lin opens the front door with a loud bang, stepping out onto the street and angrily asking if the person outside knows that lightning punishes those who interfere. However, he finds no one there, and it seems strange. Suddenly, a movement in the nearby bushes catches his attention. Before he can investigate, something flies past him and into the room. Curiously, he follows it inside and stumbles upon a yellow spirit perched contentedly on the arm of the sofa. Surprisingly, the spirit starts talking and mentions Lin's ability to dodge its attack, implying that he is not a weakling. Lin skeptically examines the animal, wondering if it resembles more of a man or a saint. The spirit called Weasel explains that it is a legendary talking golden spirit known to seek out people at midnight and ask them questions. Based on their response, the spirit takes on their form. However, it seems that the spirit has already taken its true form and now wonders why it needs Lin. Just as Lin starts to respond, the spirit abruptly lunges at him with sharp teeth, burning red eyes, and long claws, resembling more of a predator than a spirit. However, Hong swiftly intervenes, stopping the spirit with her forked sword. Lin expresses his dissatisfaction with the spirit's attack, while Hong picks up her sword and suggests killing the harmless animal. Lin stops Hong, addressing her as his beloved, and she immediately forgets about killing the spirit, pleased with his affectionate words. Lin suggests they have some fun with the spirit instead, turning it into something, perhaps even food. The spirit, filled with despair, is soon tied up with a red rope, tears in its eyes. Hong and Lin discuss how delicious the spirit would taste, although Lin himself doesn't really care about its taste. It's not every day that you get the opportunity to have dinner with such a rare animal. The spirit protests, almost barking at Lin and Hong, wondering if they would spare a little spirit. Hong, with a slight smirk, reflects on how just a few minutes ago she tried to kill herself, and now she finds something else to be dissatisfied about. She is now wearing a white apron over her usual red dress, and Lin is sitting at the table, preparing for the meal. Lin approaches the spirit, towering over it with a formidable rock in hand, and sets a condition. If the spirit doesn't want to become food, it must answer why it attacked him. However, the spirit remains loyal to its master and refuses to divulge anything. In response, Lin asks Hong to start a fire, as today they will have a dish called spirit on coals. The spirit, growling, quickly betrays its employer. It was sent by Yang Guang, Yang Yi's grandfather and a high-ranking elder of the Kanglin Academy. Lin needs to be much more careful, such influential figures are targeting him. The system presents Lin with a choice in this situation: release the spirit, kill the spirit, or become a chef and prepare delicious dishes from the spirit. This timeline requires more thought than usual. The first option is a tempting reward, but letting the animal go would bring about numerous difficulties. Perhaps there is a way to handle things differently, morally. Quest declares that he is compassionate toward living beings and, therefore, will not kill the spirit. He sets the animal free, prompting Hong to call him in bewilderment, unable to comprehend his sudden change of heart. The spirit, almost in disbelief, cries tears of joy as Lin unties the rope. Sincerely, Lin asks the animal to leave as soon as possible, and the spirit starts running, its heels sparkling in the process, thanking him and calling him a good man. The task is completed, and Lin is pleased to receive a reward, a bone marrow cleansing pill, which is added to his inventory. As expected, the task is successfully counted, allowing Lin to abandon the pretense of being a good guy. The furry spirit plans to escape from this den of demons as soon as possible, still crying, whether from the fear it experienced or from happiness. Just as it attempts to flee, Lin appears behind it, speaking in a sweet voice and asking where the cutie is going, stating that escape won't work. The spirit's hair stands on end, and it slowly turns around, trembling all over. It asks if it wasn't Lin who just let it go on all four sides. Now, it has lost all faith. With a smile, Lin informs it that he did, indeed, release it but changed his mind, and now it's going into the frying pan. After some time, the spirit lies tied up with ribbons, passed out from fright. She asks if her husband will eat the spirit now. Of course, Lin won't do that. He has a better idea. In his hands, he holds a spiked collar. The next day, the spirit wakes up, tied with a chain to the collar, which has a bell and spikes. It feels as if more than half of its life has passed, and now it has been turned into a guard dog by some kid. This won't do. The spirit cries out, begging for help from anyone who will listen. Lin wakes up in the morning and realizes that his wife stayed with him all night. He thinks having a wife isn't so bad after all. To show his appreciation, he decides to gently touch her while she's still sleeping, but she suddenly wakes up and sees him. She opens her eyes and notices that Lin looks stronger. Lin feels confident too. He admires himself in the mirror while Hong explains that he hasn't fully absorbed the pills yet and it will take some time. Lin playfully suggests they have a little fight to see who's stronger, but Hong blushes and refuses. She asks him what she means to him. Filled with love, Lin embraces her and tells her that he loves her. Hong becomes shy and leaves, but before going, she tells him that he will need external help to stay strong, which means he needs to keep training and pushing himself. Later, he attends the welcome ceremony for freshmen. The students are asked to gather on the field. Lin is still contemplating Hongyi's advice and is unsure whether to trust her method. The overweight man greets the freshmen, asking why Lin looks so gloomy on such an occasion. Lin awkwardly rubs the back of his head and justifies his demeanor by saying that he attracts too much attention due to his looks. Most girls immediately turn their eyes to him, acknowledging his handsomeness. However, male students have a different opinion, believing that a pretty face alone is not enough to succeed in the academy. A brave girl suggests buying milk for Lin, but he declines, claiming not to be hungry. He enjoys being the center of attention and decides to portray himself as a noble prince whom no one in the academy can match. Lin encounters teacher Jang and greets her with a wave. She introduces him to the seniors, Murong Qingyu, a girl in a black dress, and Hu Feng, a guy with a vest over his bare chest. Su Tang, who is also part of their group and served as an examiner, complains that Lin was late on his first day of school. Lin takes the opportunity to tease her, mentioning how she has improved her figure in the days they hadn't seen each other. Su Tang yells at him for his shamelessness, but Lin continues to provoke her. Jang interrupts their banter and mentions that she has learned a bit about Lin, surprising the overweight man by mentioning Lin Yuan, his idol and adopted father, who joins the conversation, acknowledging Lin Yuan as the strongest man in Kanglan City in the past. Lin is taken aback by how many people know about his adoptive father, as he himself has only vague memories of him. Lin notices Jianyao nearby, looking stronger than before. He wonders about the methods used by Jang, who was able to improve Johnny's strength so quickly. Yangyi, the arrogant and malicious student, is also present. The yellow spirit sent by his grandfather has not returned, and Lin appears unharmed, indicating that his plan for a surprise attack has failed. The students line up in front of the academy's leadership, where an old man with long gray hair and an unpleasant face greets them. He introduces himself as the deputy director of the Kanglan Xuanyang Academy and expresses his pleasure at seeing everyone at the ceremony. He believes that the students have come with the hope of becoming the strongest, and the academy looks forward to their future achievements. Next, the outstanding first-year students are asked to come on stage to receive their Kanglan emblems and give an introductory speech. Lin wonders what the emblem is and learns that it is a special award given by the academy to outstanding freshmen. It serves as a student card for academy events and also functions as a spatial storage, a valuable item. Lin is surprised by the treasures present in the academy, and the overweight man proudly shows his emblem, jokingly mentioning that even someone like him used to be an outstanding freshman. Chu Jianyao, the first outstanding student, takes the stage and delivers a speech thanking the academy for the award and promising not to disappoint their expectations. Lin laughs, realizing that she has started making a speech. Yang, the freshman from the second group, follows and declares his intention to fight for the title of the strongest in the academy. Lin looks on, waiting for his turn. The system presents 3 options for Lin's speech. 1, an official speech that belittles himself to eventually elevate his status, rewarding +5 dexterity. 2, a bold speech to assert his dominance over the teachers, rewarding +5 strength, or 3, a positive speech meant to touch the listeners' hearts, rewarding +5 charm. Lin decides to choose the third option, wanting to become charming and later get a good beating since his muscles and bones won't clean themselves. He pulls the emblem forward, distancing it from himself, and loudly proclaims that while he accepts the title of outstanding student, he is the last person who should have received such an honor. He refers to himself as a weak and worthless individual, surprised that the academy would bestow such recognition upon him. Lin bows low and thanks everyone for their condescension, expressing his commitment to work hard and become not only stronger himself but also a pillar for the academy. His words have a profound effect, and the crowd admires him with renewed vigor. However, Yang remains unaffected by Lin's charm, furious that he appropriated all the attention and rewards. As the reward is credited to Lin's account, the ceremony concludes, and the students begin to gather around the audacious newcomer. Junyao shakes his head, realizing that only the grave can fix Lin. Yang, satisfied with the situation, doesn't need to intervene. Jang notices that despite Lin's craziness, he resembles Lin Yuan, but he seems to allow himself to be beaten too easily, likely for a reason. Lin finds himself in a predicament as no one wants to hit him despite his pleas. Frustrated, he sits down and covers his face with his hand, feeling defeated. Hong, who is invisible to others except Lin, suggests leaving and coming back another day, but Lin refuses. He believes he can't just leave things as they are and must endure being beaten to absorb the power of the bone-washing pill for an S-rank body. As Lin contemplates his situation, a passing student, intrigued by his behavior, asks him what the point is. Before Lin can respond, a stranger offers a suggestion on how to attract the Academy's wrath by confessing his love to Mo Qingcheng, one of the 4 beauties of the institution. Excited by the idea, Lin realizes that Mo Qingcheng must have many fans, and if he admits his love for her, he will surely be pursued by her followers. Lin's statement angers Hong, and she immediately sends a message to the Academy's public platform, declaring Lin as Mo Qingcheng's waifu. She challenges anyone who disagrees to meet Lin at the square. The demon, feeling jealous, tries to control her emotions and calms herself by pretending that Lin's actions are all an act. Lin happily announces that they have taken the bait, and Hong leans over the phone screen with interest. In a matter of minutes, a crowd of angry individuals, armed with bats, sticks, and even machine guns, rushes towards Lin, ready to defend their goddess's honor. Lin realizes his mistake and gets scared by the overwhelming number of people. Meanwhile, Lin decides to hide from the approaching crowd and returns to the spiritual world, acknowledging that if his beloved wants to train, he should do it as intensely as possible. In a classroom, a girl remembers Lin's face as he was the first person to openly express his feelings for her. Lin continues to endure the beating, feeling the pain and fearing for his life. However, his attackers are interrupted by Jang, who comes to his defense. She shouts at them, questioning their audacity to bully her student. The appearance of Jang makes Mo Qingcheng's admirers retreat, and she gives them a few seconds to escape before they all run away. Jang then turns her attention to Lin, lying on the ground, and wonders why he is deliberately seeking death with such a harsh training method. Lin awkwardly laughs and asks if she has any connection to him since she appeared suddenly. Jang, however, informs him about a minor matter, the opening of a spiritual spring at the academy the next day. Lin wonders if the spring is a relic left behind by a great master, and Jang explains that when the world's spiritual energy was restored, many traces of energy were discovered all over the earth, including the spiritual source. She describes it as a hot spring infused with spiritual power that can help individuals become stronger. However, the spring will only be open for a limited time, and other participants will compete for the opportunity to visit it. Jang emphasizes the importance of gratitude and asks Lin to follow her, as it is time to fulfill the promise of a special position. Lin, filled with joy, recalls the warning that the special position doesn't bode well, but he is determined not to back down this time. On a mountain behind the academy, a massive ball of earth rolls down the slope, and Lin, trying to escape it, asks if this is what his special position looks like. He doesn't like it at all. Jang, sitting on a stool with a glass of red wine, advises him to speed up his training, warning him that he might die prematurely otherwise. The special position turns out to be a diabolical hidden test. After completing the first workout, the second one begins. Lin is tasked with doing push-ups with Jang sitting on him, and she informs him that there are only 1,000 repetitions left. The onlookers, the elders, find amusement in the newcomer's torment. The next test involves Lin sitting on a slippery rock under a waterfall with thorny vines entwined around him, while Jang whips his back with the same vines. With only half an hour left, it appears that Jang is genuinely enjoying the ordeal, believing that Lin will definitely make progress at this rate. Next, Lin stands on a raised platform, buffeted by strong winds, with a trampoline at the bottom. He must jump onto the trampoline. Jang encourages him to be brave and not be afraid of anything. The situation becomes unbearable for Lin, and he eventually collapses on the ground in the evening, seemingly lifeless. Jang sits beside him, and during a brief break, Lin complains that he hasn't eaten or rested all day. Jang grants him a couple of minutes and suggests discussing his father. Lin reveals that he knows little about his ancestral past as his father didn't tell him much while he was alive. Jiang, lighting a cigarette without opening her eyes, agrees and expresses sorrow that Lin doesn't fully comprehend how great his father was. 10 years ago, an army of demons invaded Kenglin, committing atrocities and bringing humanity to the brink of extinction. Lin Yuan, Lin's father, fearlessly opposed them and defended the city alongside his elite squad. Jiang was also part of that squad and had the privilege of fighting alongside Lin Yuan. They fought for the future of humanity, sacrificing themselves. However, the enemy had S-class demons, and despite numerous battles, the squad managed to repel the monster's attack. Unfortunately, Lin Yuan and the other squad members lost their lives in the process. Although Lin is just a hitman, he understands the honor of being the son of such a great man. After arriving in this world, Lin quickly adapted to the reality of constant fighting and forgot about his previous comfortable life. The people here only experience brief moments of peace amidst ongoing conflicts. Jiang reflects on the price paid for this fragile peace, the lives of Lin's father and the squad members. Following Lin Yuan's death, Lin joined the superpowers department and continued to fight and kill demons, protecting the city from the shadows. Lin makes a decision to protect this world, and he is ready to continue his training under Jiang's guidance. Meanwhile, a freshman named Mu promises to fulfill the mission of getting rid of Lin, as assigned by the old man who gives him 1,000 spiritual stones. In the morning, Lin leaves home, informing his wife along the way that he is going to a spiritual spring. He anticipates that the demon's help, Jiang's guidance, and the pill's effects will soon elevate his body to S rank. As he passes by the sleeping dog, he sarcastically asks if it didn't like the bone or if it has decided to go on a hunger strike. The spirit dog adamantly refuses to take anything from him, even the piece of fried chicken Lin was holding. However, Lin persuades the spirit to take the food by sacrificing its principles. The place for today's cultivation is a spiritual source, a natural location adjacent to the city that Lin never expected. Jiang mentions the 500 spiritual stones hidden in the emblem, which will be useful for the spiritual source. She advises Lin to use them wisely. Upon reaching the spiritual source, the students must throw the spiritual stones into it to release more spiritual power. Lin asks the fat man about the nature of spiritual stones, and he explains that they are natural stones containing spiritual energy. They can be used to restore spiritual energy or as currency. Jiang instructs Lin to return as soon as possible while she waits for him. Lin struggles to determine which source is better to occupy. He opens the door to the nearest spring and unexpectedly stumbles upon bathing girls, including Mo Qingcheng, the girl he confessed his love to. Given the situation, the system presents Lin with a choice: to run through the girls with his eyes and leave, jump into their spring and cause commotion, or apologize and beg for forgiveness. Lin chooses the second option and jumps into the girls' spring with a bomb-like entrance. However, he is quickly kicked out of their baths. A passerby realizes that Lin has just been thrown out of Mo Qingcheng's room, indicating that he saw her naked. Lin knows he's in trouble. Despite the difficulties, he finds a small source and immerses himself in the water, enjoying life. Suddenly, Hong appears before him, questioning if it's not enough for her husband. She gently strokes his chin, calls him a scoundrel, and bites his shoulder. Lin chokes with a scream, surprised by her jealousy. A powerful explosion shakes the wall behind them, creating a large hole. The stranger, whom Lin recognized as the person who interacted with Yang Yi earlier, accuses Lin of defiling. He promises a swift death and attacks with a clawed paw. Lin manages to dodge the attack, but the stranger's hand breaks the source, forming a black hole. There is something beneath the source, pulling them inside. Lin grabs the edge but is held firmly by the stranger, who dangles Lin by the ankle. They both fall, with Hong following her husband down. Lin was falling down, but to his surprise, he noticed water below in the cave, and they both descended into it. Hong held on to him as they fell, and in that moment, Lin felt fortunate to have a wife by his side in such a situation. She went ahead to check the fallen man and came to the conclusion that he was dead. Then, she asked Lin how he felt about it. Lin replied that he didn't feel much except for the fact that the man wanted to harm him, so he received what he deserved. Lin decided it was time to take all the supplies and leave. As he reached into his pocket, he discovered some soul stones, and his happiness knew no bounds. Hong then warned him that they were in a ghost town, where the presence of many ghosts and monsters could be sensed, and therefore, they should leave. Lin pretended not to take it seriously, and joked that he wanted to see ghosts and monsters if they were as beautiful as her. In response, she playfully snatched Lin's ear, feeling embarrassed by his remarks, and reminded him that this was no time for jokes. Lin then asked her to explain what she meant by a ghost town. Hong explained that a ghost town was a place where ghosts and monsters hunted weaker humans, and it was dangerous to linger in such towns. Suddenly, a ball popped out of the grass, followed by two monsters who asked Lin to teach them soccer. Just then, the system was triggered, and it presented Lin with a quest. He had three choices: to play soccer with the kids, to quietly kill them, or to make them his enemies and receive the highest reward. Feeling pity for the goblin children, Lin decided to pretend to play soccer with them. However, he suddenly kicked the ball so hard that it ended up killing one of the kids. The other child was shocked by his brother's death and pleaded for his own life. Lin enjoyed the whole spectacle because it meant he could complete his quest. Suddenly, the entire goblin group arrived, enraged by the sight of the dead child. Lin openly mocked them and challenged them to a fight. At first, they thought Lin was crazy, but their anger got the better of them, and they started attacking him. They beat him up, but Lin's smile never faded, which made the goblins think he was insane. They continued to pummel him, while Hong watched from a distance. Then, suddenly, Lin awakened another high-level ability, which was exactly what he had hoped for. He asked his wife to join him in defeating all the goblins, and together they unleashed their strength upon their foes. Lin felt an incredible power surge through him, like a phoenix rising. After a while, Hong sensed a strong aura and warned Lin that there might be a B-rank monster or a monster king lurking nearby, urging them to leave immediately. She swiftly snatched him and flew away. When Lin returned, he was confronted by a gang, and their reactions were mixed upon seeing him. The tutor immediately ordered Zion to take Lin away, assuming a fighting stance. Lin was bewildered and wondered what was happening. At home, Lin received a message informing him that the tutor had successfully dealt with the ghosts, but he still had lingering doubts. Shortly after, he received a message from his friend, who mentioned that they were going to receive Soul Jade as a reward. However, Lin had no clue what Soul Jade was, prompting Hong to step in and explain. Hong explained that Soul Jade was a precious item that stored the aura of ghosts and monsters. After their demise, if someone used Soul Jade, they could absorb the aura and unlock special powers. Intrigued by this information, Lin found it fascinating and eagerly asked Hong when they were going to obtain Soul Jade. In response, Hong playfully told him to be patient. Meanwhile, Lin's dog grew annoyed seeing Lin showering love on his girlfriend. However, his annoyance was short-lived when Lin unexpectedly offered him food and expressed gratitude for his help. The dog initially thought he had finally gained the attention he craved, but Lin quickly shifted his focus, completely ignoring him as he prepared to go outside with his girlfriend. The dog couldn't help but notice how much Lin had changed. At the elder's office, Yang engaged in a debate with his grandfather, urging him to eliminate Lin. However, his grandfather refused, believing that some things couldn't be rushed, and that they should proceed with caution. Noon arrived, and Lin and the others made their way to the treasure house to collect their Soul Jade. They found the caretaker, Elder Kang, sound asleep. Lin initially doubted that a drowsy person like Elder Kang could be the caretaker, but when the elder opened his eyes, Lin felt a strange sensation in his body. Elder Kang then commanded everyone to follow him, leading them to the area where the Soul Jade was stored. As they arrived, they were met with numerous boxes, and Lin learned that they had to open the boxes to obtain the Soul Jade. Otherwise, they would miss out on receiving it. As everyone started attempting to open the boxes, Lin found himself faced with another quest. The system presented him with three choices: to keep a low profile, to open the box in a hardcore manner, or to seek help. Lin knew exactly what he needed to do and opted for the second choice, which promised the highest reward. Without hesitation, Lin began to destroy the boxes in a rather unconventional manner. His actions left everyone around him shocked and bewildered, but Lin defended himself by stating that the caretaker hadn't mentioned any restrictions. Surprisingly, others started to follow Lin's lead and adopted his method of opening the boxes. Suddenly, Elder Kang grabbed Lin's arm and requested that he come with him. He led Lin to a special collection of rare Soul Jade and allowed him to choose one. Among the selection, Lin discovered a vibrant red Soul Jade, which the caretaker revealed to be an exceptionally rare item. Lin made up his mind and decided to take the red Soul Jade. Just as Lin absorbed the Soul Jade, the system asked if he wanted to do it immediately, and Lin agreed. Elder Kang was taken aback by Lin's ability to absorb the Soul Jade directly. As the Soul Jade's power coursed through him, Lin felt an overwhelming surge of strength, and witnessed fiery energy enveloping his being. Lin felt a surge of happiness coursing through him, knowing that he had gained a more formidable ability. The caretaker, witnessing Lin's newfound power, couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction, knowing that the academy had found someone truly talented. Just as Lin was reveling in his achievement, his brother hurriedly arrived, informing him that Mo King Cheng was searching for him and urging him to escape. However, Lin stubbornly refused to flee, for facing this situation head-on was exactly what he desired. Fatso, concerned for Lin's well-being, tried to make him realize the gravity of the situation. He warned Lin that the crowd outside was growing restless and that they would attack if he didn't leave immediately. Despite the warning, Lin brushed it off, resolved to confront them with all his strength. Meanwhile, outside the building, a large crowd had gathered, chanting Lin's name and brimming with energy, eager to take him down. Finally, Lin and his friend stepped outside to face them. Upon facing the crowd, Lin wasted no time in mocking them, asserting that he was the father of every single one of them and demanding to meet his son. The crowd did not take kindly to his words, finding him arrogant and in need of correction. As tensions rose, one person from the crowd charged at Lin, utilizing his ape-like ability to attack. The assailant unleashed his full strength, but Lin swiftly countered the assault and retaliated. The crowd soon realized the extent of Lin's strength, prompting them to call for artillery support. Lin was momentarily taken aback at the sight of such weaponry, but he remained confident in his ability to overcome it. He recognized that the so-called fan club was not simply a group of enthusiasts, but rather a tightly knit brotherhood. With determination in his eyes, Lin launched his attack. His primary target was the artillery, and he swiftly disabled it, leaving everyone, including the caretaker, in awe of his skill. The other members of the brotherhood, filled with fear, scattered and fled. Lin, realizing he had accomplished his objective for the day, took a moment to catch his breath. Meanwhile, Lin's sister had been diligently searching for his house and finally arrived. She came face to face with Lin's dog, finding him undeniably cute. However, the dog attempted to act tough but couldn't hide his fear when confronted with an intimidating presence. He resorted to pretending to be an innocent and harmless pup, doing nothing to deter Lin's sister. As night fell, Lin and his girlfriend returned home after a successful day. To their surprise, they discovered the door ajar, suggesting the presence of a burglar. Hong, sensing something amiss, expressed her concern. Determined to investigate, they cautiously entered the house, only to be greeted by a hidden surprise, Lin's sister, who had been hiding to surprise him. As Lin returned home, he sensed that something was amiss. To his surprise, his sister suddenly jumped out and enveloped him in a tight hug. His girlfriend also recognized her and joined in the warm reunion. Curious about Lin's absence, his sister inquired why he had been away for so long. Lin tried to explain that he had been training diligently to become stronger in order to protect her. Hearing his explanation, she forgave him and admired his dedication. Lin's dog, however, couldn't believe that this girl was actually Lin's sister. Excitedly, Lin's sister revealed another piece of good news. She now had official permission to live with him. Lin pretended to be happy, although deep down, he felt a sense of sadness knowing that this meant the end of his time with his beloved wife. The dog shared a similar sentiment, as he couldn't fathom living with Lin's sister. Inquisitively, Lin's sister commented on the state of the house, questioning whether the girls he brought home never helped with the cleaning. Lin became nervous and asked for forgiveness, assuring her that there were no other girls and dispelling any suspicions. His sister believed him, cautioning him against getting involved with any girl other than her, as she believed they would only bring trouble. Lin agreed, hiding his secret with a smile. The following morning, Lin's sister prepared breakfast for him, but the food didn't look appetizing. Worried that it might be harmful, Lin hesitated to eat. His sister noticed his reluctance and questioned why he wasn't eating. Lin tried to explain his skepticism about the food, but his sister reassured him that it was delicious and even mentioned that she had already fed it to the dog, who was visibly unwell. Reluctantly, Lin took a bite of the food and to his surprise, found it quite enjoyable. He realized that it wasn't as bad as he had initially thought. After finishing his meal, Lin decided to venture outside in search of a part-time job to earn some money during his free time. He encountered his plump friend and decided to accompany him, as he knew his friend could assist him in finding suitable work. Together, they arrived at the mercenary center, much to Lin's astonishment. He had never anticipated that his friend's idea of a part-time job would involve becoming a mercenary. Nevertheless, Lin was not one to back down from a challenge. His friend explained the mercenary system to him and how they could earn money through bounties. Lin's eyes widened as he saw a poster advertising a staggering reward of 50 million soul stones. He could hardly believe that such wealth was within reach. He began daydreaming about becoming a billionaire and attracting scores of beautiful girls. His behavior became rather eccentric, leading those around him to wonder if he was slightly unhinged. Soon, his friend called him back to reality and introduced him nervously to the esteemed Shogun Blade team. The team leader, Chu Tai, welcomed Lin and introduced himself in return. Lin put on a confident facade as he stood before the leader, showering him with praise. Lin's friend chimed in, revealing that Lin possessed psychic abilities. This revelation piqued the leader's interest, prompting him to retrieve something special. He presented Lin with the original psychic awakening apparatus and asked him to touch it for a test. Lin complied, and the apparatus revealed his psychic level, which turned out to be a respectable C+. The leader, named Tai, informed Lin that a C-level score was quite impressive and that he met the necessary criteria to join their squad. Lin and his friend celebrated this news, thrilled to be accepted. Tai believed that Lin's addition would greatly enhance their squad's capabilities. However, Lin's newfound confidence got the better of him, and he started to boast. Suddenly, another squad member stepped forward and warned Lin against excessive arrogance, cautioning that it could lead to his downfall. The fangirls in the vicinity erupted in screams, calling out Mo Shen's name. Mo Shen sat down and advised Lin not to make mistakes, reminding him that he was just another young man. Lin felt a sense of familiarity upon seeing Mo Shen, but couldn't quite place it. Tai then proceeded to introduce Lin to the other team members, starting with Coco, who was in charge of the therapy team. Yuju introduced himself as the long-range attack specialist. Lin quickly formed friendly connections with the squad members, which struck Mo Shen as unusual. Tai then introduced Vice Captain Mo Zhu, who happened to be Mo Qingcheng's brother. Mo Zhu didn't seem particularly thrilled about meeting Lin. Lin was equally surprised to see Mo Zhu there, as he hadn't expected his presence. However, he couldn't resist the opportunity to taunt him by calling him brother-in-law. This remark immediately angered Mo Zhu, who demanded that Lin retract his words. Lin, refusing to back down, continued to mock him, sparking a heated exchange between the two. At that moment, the system triggered another quest for Lin, presenting him with a choice. He could either make peace or worsen the situation. Shockingly, Lin opted to ask for forgiveness. After some time, Mo Zhu cockily forgave him. However, Lin surprised everyone by suddenly punching Mo Zhu, causing him to fall to the ground. The onlookers couldn't believe their eyes, witnessing such a turn of events. Lin remained confident and unyielding, unafraid to escalate the situation. Tai stepped in to defuse the tension and urged Mo Zhu not to react inappropriately, although Mo Zhu sought revenge. Later, the squad arrived at a haunted mansion, their mission being to hunt down ghosts. The leader shared the mansion's backstory, further fueling Lin's excitement for his first mission. Tai then instructed Mo Zhu to distribute communication devices, and in the process, Mo Zhu managed to frighten Lin. As they entered the mansion, Lin diligently searched for ghosts, and his girlfriend also arrived to offer assistance. She cautioned him to be careful, as ghosts excelled in deception. Suddenly, a group of ghosts ambushed him from behind, catching him off guard. The group of ghosts attempted to seduce Lin, offering to make him their boyfriend and inquiring about his relationship status. Lin found the attention enjoyable and felt good about it, much to the displeasure of his girlfriend. She grew jealous and commanded Lin to eliminate every single one of the ghosts. However, Lin desired to relish in their attention a little longer. Suddenly, the system was triggered. The system presented Lin with 3 choices. He could choose the left option, the right option, or all of them. Lin realized that this decision was crucial and opted to choose them all. This choice infuriated Hong, causing her to rage. Yet, once Lin earned points for completing the quest, he dismissed the ghosts and declared his unwavering love for his wife, vowing never to betray her. Hong remained angry, but Lin attempted to appease her by assuring her of his true faithfulness and unwavering love. Just as Lin spoke these words, the ghost sisters overheard and grew enraged. They summoned their monsters, which began to chase both Lin and Hong. As they ran, Lin realized how deranged the ghost sisters were. Meanwhile, the other squad members had gathered together. Tai inquired if anyone had discovered anything, but they all responded negatively, claiming there was nothing to report. Suddenly, the door swung open, and Lin burst in, followed closely by the ghost sisters and their army of monsters. The entire squad was stunned by the sight of such a formidable army, questioning why Lin always found himself in such predicaments. The sisters launched their attack, tearing the clothes of the squad members. Upon seeing the torn clothes of the female squad member, Lin became enticed and retaliated by giving orders to his comrades to fight back. They engaged in battle against the monsters, with Tai eventually landing a hit on one of the sisters with his attack. Hong commanded Lin to assist Coco, and he took the opportunity to try and seduce her before joining the fight. After fighting for half an hour, the squad successfully captured both sisters, and Coco expressed her gratitude by kissing Lin. Leader Tai explained that they had received incorrect information and should have been expecting a reward of at least 30,000. Upon hearing this number, Lin felt elated as it was a substantial amount for him. Later, as they exited the area, Tai encountered an official and explained the entire situation, including the misinformation they had received. While in the car, Lin noticed something that left him shocked. He saw his sister in the vehicle, and she stepped out to greet them. Tai questioned why Fatso hadn't informed him earlier that Lin's sister worked at the department, but Fatso clarified that he had only recently discovered that fact. Lin's sister expressed concern, advising him not to get involved in such dangerous activities. However, Lin explained that he was striving to become stronger so that he could provide a better life for himself and his sister. Hua informed him that she would be away for an extended period, and he would have to take care of himself and their younger sister. Lin was at a loss for words but inquired about joining the night patrol, following in his father's footsteps. His sister explained that he needed more time before joining the night patrol. In the meantime, she encouraged him to focus on his studies at the academy, assuring him that his time would come eventually. She did her best to motivate her brother and even presented him with a small gift, bringing a smile to his face. Lin then left the place accompanied by his friend. Upon returning home, Lin discovered that his younger sister had dressed their dog in female clothes, which amused him. He shared the gift he had received while interacting with his other sister, and when his younger sister asked him to open it, he found a soul jade inside. He was delighted as he knew it would aid him in becoming stronger. Lin's sister advised him to absorb the soul jade, allowing him to unlock his newfound power. Following her guidance, he absorbed the jade, feeling a surge of new strength within him. His sister expressed pride in her brother's ability to directly absorb a soul jade, a significant accomplishment. Lin felt an immense sense of power, and his sister congratulated him on his increased strength. Even the spirit dog Tool felt a sense of fear witnessing the monstrous potential of Lin's family. Hong observed the entire scene from a distance, smiling as she witnessed her husband's initial progress. The following day, Lin approached Jiang and requested to be registered for the autumn trial. Jiang commended his bravery, as the trial was only a few days away. She also offered him a personal practice session, which he gladly accepted. Lin's other friends decided to take the exam alongside him. Suddenly, the door slammed open, and Jian Yu appeared, seeking revenge against Lin. Jian Yu questioned the entire class, demanding to know who Lin was. Lin jokingly pointed at Fatso, claiming that he was Lin, but Jian Yu didn't fall for his trick. She attacked Lin, but Su Tang intervened and saved him. Lin couldn't believe that Su Tang was actually coming to his aid. Su Tang explained that Lin was a member of their class, and she would do anything to protect him. They engaged in a fierce battle against each other, much to the excitement of Lin. Fatso explained that Jian Yu and Su Tang had been rivals since their freshman year, and harbored personal grudges against each other. Lin cheered them on, fascinated by the intense fight unfolding before him. Jian Yu and Su Tang continued their intense fight, but their clash was abruptly interrupted by a mysterious masked man. No one, including Lin, knew who he was until he revealed himself as a denizen of the underworld. Lin was still clueless about the underworld and had no idea what it meant. The underworld ghost approached Mo Qingcheng and used his powers to trap her. However, Jian Yu swiftly came to her aid, declaring that if the ghost wanted to take her friend, he would have to kill her first. Her determination was evident in her words. Lin interrupted their confrontation and inquired if he could eat the underworld, which only served to anger the ghost further. Lin learned that the underworld was a realm inhabited by numerous ghosts and monsters, and some corrupted humans even sold their souls to join them. This revelation cleared up Lin's confusion, but he couldn't resist making jokes, much to the ghost's annoyance. The ghost vowed to make their lives a living hell. The ghost launched an attack on everyone present, and while most of them became alert, Lin continued to joke around, pretending to record the underworld ghost with his smartphone. The ghost grew even angrier, as Lin seemed unfazed no matter how hard he tried. Suddenly, a window appeared, presenting Lin with a new quest. He had three options: to run away, to join the underworld ghost, or to help others defeat the ghost. Lin pondered over which option would be better. After some consideration, he made a surprising decision. He approached the underworld ghost, begging for forgiveness and expressing his desire to join him. This shocking choice bewildered everyone, but Lin continued to plead for forgiveness, maintaining his act. The ghost eventually agreed, seeing Lin's apparent weakness. However, as soon as the quest was completed, Lin revealed his true nature by punching the ghost away. This twisted display shocked everyone, and the underworld ghost grew furious, launching an attack in the form of snakes. Just in the nick of time, Lin's girlfriend arrived and saved him. Lin continued to fight against the underworld ghost, but soon Jiang and the others arrived, providing him with much needed support. Lin felt relieved, knowing he had reinforcements by his side. The underworld ghost was in denial because he believed no one could enter his boundaries, but Jang revealed that it was very easy for Ghost, then didn't waste any time and sent his snake to attack Jang, and the snake instantly swallowed Jang. Lin and others got shocked seeing this happen, and the underworld ghost started to get cocky seeing his attack succeed. Suddenly, fire burst through the snake, and Jang came out of it unharmed. She killed the snake with her fire, and her smile showed how confident she is. The underworld ghost couldn't believe that his snake had died out. Lin was impressed by the strength of his teacher, and Jang didn't waste any time and summoned a loaf to attack an underworld ghost. Her attacks were too powerful for Ghost to handle, and he lost in the end. Lin rushed towards Jang to praise her, and when he tried to touch the money, the monkey resisted. Lin's friend explained that Jang's monkey is not just another normal monkey but an ancient summoning being. After defeating the underworld ghost, everyone tied him, and then Jang and Lin began to whip him. Finally, the ghost agreed to speak, but suddenly a blade came from behind and killed him. Everyone got shocked to see another female monster who just killed an underworld ghost, and she was looking terrifying. That female ghost instantly grabbed Lin and began to drag him with her while everyone rushed to protect him. She took Lin with her into a different dimension. Upon arriving at the different dimension, Lin began to call for help, but there was absolutely nobody to help him, so he began to punch the woman but realized that he could no longer use his power. The ghost woman laughed at him and revealed that she had blocked his spirit power and world, and now he was truly helpless. Lin then tried to save himself by asking the ghost, why has she kidnapped him instead? The ghost came near Lin and explained that initially the target was her, but her personal evaluation has concluded that Lin is far superior to her, and she will not obey Lin if he eats magic blood. Suddenly the quest window gets triggered, and Lin again gets 3 choices. The first is to refuse, the second is to eat it, and the third is to waste time and find a perfect opportunity to run away. Lin started to wonder what would be best for him and what decision he should make. Lin makes his choice and says he would rather die than eat anything from her, and he was confident. But the ghost reveals her true intentions. She explains that she will chop off the arms and legs of Lin and then forcefully feed him. Lin hears it and realizes that he doesn't really have a choice, so he decides to obey her and agrees to eat. The ghost then pours the blood and suddenly kisses Lin forcefully. Jang and others arrive there, so the ghost runs away. Jang doesn't allow her teammates to chase after the ghost. Instead, she orders them to take care of Lin, who is not looking well. Lin doesn't lose his attitude, still acts confidently, and proclaims he can still down the female ghost by himself. Later, when Lin arrives at home, he gives his sister a gift, and when she asks him if he wants to eat or not, Lin reveals he wants to rest first, and then he goes upstairs, where he falls down because of his bad health. Lin understands that the ghost didn't have any good intentions, and she did him dirty. Hong rushes to save Lin and sees that his health is decreasing. Hong decides to use a special way to heal him, which is fusion, so she begins to remove her clothes. Lin wakes up feeling tired from the previous night, and his wife is still fast asleep. He decides not to disturb her, grateful for all the help she gave him. As Lin goes downstairs, he sees his sister preparing nutritious food for him. While eating, his sister curiously asks about the noises from his room last night, and if he's hiding a girl. Lin is taken aback by his sister's cunning, but he assures her that he isn't hiding anyone and that even the dog would be in danger if he did. Wanting to avoid further questions, Lin hastily leaves the house, but his sister remains skeptical. Finally, he arrives at the academy and meets up with his overweight friend. The friend reveals that he saw a shadow of a woman in Lin's room and asks what's going on. Lin attempts to lie, but his friend informs him that the news has spread throughout the school, causing Lin to feel nervous. Just then, Jang arrives. Jang is in a serious mood and announces that there's only 1 month left and they must do their best. She orders everyone to gather at the hill immediately. Jang's training is brutal and merciless, pushing her students to their limits. Time passes quickly, leading up to the highly anticipated day. The announcement for the fall teams and captains begins. The first captain announced is Qin Feng of the Mad Warriors, whose arrogance even makes Lin feel uneasy. The second captain is Yang Yi of the Flywheel team. Mo Qingcheng becomes the captain of the Qingcheng team. Lin is shocked when Chu Tai is announced as the captain of the Shogun Blade team. Next, the captain of the Godless team, Ziel Yufeng, is announced. After several announcements, it is finally revealed that Lin will be the captain of his own team, the Blade Hunters. Everyone is shocked to see Lin commanding such a legendary team. However, Yang Yi objects and criticizes the decision as reckless. Suddenly, a quest window pops up, presenting a new quest to Lin. He makes a crucial choice, announcing his father's achievements and expressing his desire to inherit his legacy and bring about change. He tells everyone how legendary his father was, and he will try his best to deliver justice to the legacy his father had built, and he will not give up till then. Lin's inspiring speech earns him newfound respect. And that's how the first part of this manhwa ends. Well guys, if you like this video and you want a second part, comment below with the word part 2. Also subscribe to the channel, hit the bell and like the video. But most important, leave a comment. Until the next video.